What's going on, everyone? I hope you're having a fantastic day. So today is August 9th, 2022, and what I'm going to be showing you today is a market review of what happened today, the trades that I took, the trades that I missed, and the trades that I lost in. So hopefully you take something out of this video. If you are learning from the ICT mentorship, as I am as well, hopefully this video serves to help you in your trading journey. So let's begin. Okay. So when I woke up this morning and I started analyzing the NAS, we stick into this daily range. And if you take a look at yesterday's video, I was saying that price was going to create lower lows. And today feels pretty good, knowing that that's what price ended up doing. So in order to get things started for today, what I ended up doing was marking up yesterday's high and low. Okay. And then I noticed the following. So during my market analysis, if you will, in the morning, was that I noticed that the Asian session was all kind of like accumulating. So what I thought in the bigger picture was that we're going to have this accumulation and have this whole phase of manipulation before we see a huge distribution up to the upside. All right, because I was expecting that price was going to be reacting off this 8-hour fair value gap. So this imbalance right here, I thought we were going to target. I thought it was going to be an easy target today, since we opened up fairly close to it. So I thought the whole day today we were going to be aiming for that FEG, wanting to take it up for higher prices. But it looks like price has found its nesting ground and it's just hanging out here for the time being. But you're gonna see today the kind of trades that I took. So let's get to that. I thought that by the New York session open, we're going to see that distribution happen, but I guess that didn't happen today. So we'll just let it be how it is. Okay, so then I thought to myself, I looked into my S&T, right? So I got the 500, the US 30, and the US 100. In the daily, we're seeing US 500 and US 30 were both creating lower highs, but the NAS was creating higher highs. So I thought to myself, maybe today it's going to be a bullish day, which makes sense because remember our theory was that we were going to create that short-term manipulation in order to take it up high. So that's why I thought today we were going to be bullish. However, when I went down into the 15-minute range, I noticed that price was creating higher highs on SPY and on US 30, lower highs on the US 100. I thought for the time being, we're going to look for something short. So short I was. So I thought, okay, since we're creating this manipulation, we could aim to go down here. So I said, okay, let's see what's going to happen. And the first thing I noticed was that price was like down here. It was 7:30 in the morning, and I had noticed something here, this range. So that's my long-term high, long-term low. And what I thought was going to happen was that we were going to have an FVG somewhere here in the lower time frames, take up prices up here in order to take it down to lower prices for that FVG target. So then, as I kept going down, I noticed that it dipped into these sell side liquidity here. So this is my higher time frame lows. And when price dipped into these lows for sell side liquidity and then broke the latest highs from this range, I thought to myself, oh, maybe the manipulation can end sooner than I thought. And now we're going to have price pretty much just blast itself up. So that price went down here to lower prices, and I wanted to see just a slight confirmation as to what is it that that makes my idea valid to take. And so what I ended up seeing was that when price dipped into this FVG, 5 seconds, I saw another higher time frame range form with its own FVG, which was rebalanced because we had this intermediate high right here. This candle represents the intermediate high. Because it rebalanced this FVG. And so all I needed now was a break of structure from this intermediate high, get the OB of that range, and then just take it up for higher prices. And so I did that right here. So you can see that was my entry, placed it over here, and it was working for a bit, but then it kind of just price before the market opened just decided to go do this move. This is why it's really important to set your trades to break even um, when you can. I like to set it once it hits that 50% mark on my fibs. So, I mean, that was a break even, right? So now I was like, okay, cool. I'll just wait to see what's going to happen. Looks like it's not the end of the manipulation phase. So price is still probably creating that, maybe perhaps price is still seeking cause to create so that we can target this FVG lower. I thought, okay, so then all I need to look for is that play to develop. So my next trade was actually down here. Once we broke out of this higher time frame range right here, see we had this big candle here. I'm sorry for all the mess. I just recently stopped trading, so everything it is how it is. So please work with me here. Once I saw this range develop, I saw another higher time frame range with its own FVG. I thought, okay, cool. Let's see if this FVG gives us a play to target the higher time, this 8-hour block. And it did, because, and this is the part that upsets me, was that we did end up finding a play right here. So as soon as price, so this could have been the trade of the day, if you will, because we saw that it failed to create higher prices. So meaning that price was probably still seeking cause to go down into that higher time frame fair value gap. So I needed to find a bearish play, which supported the idea because now during the time of the morning we were creating lower lows. So I thought, well, all these markets were creating lower lows. So I thought, okay, so I guess now it's time to seek for a bearish play. And it was combining with the idea that we're going down to that FVG. So it was getting pretty close. I was like, all right, I need something to go down, but what is it? Let's see what this FVG brings us. And it brought us something very interesting, because here on the 1 minute, there it is. Okay. So on the 1 minute, we saw this very clean price action from which we created this rebalance to that fair value gap. And look what ended up happening. This range itself was its own intermediate high. Why? Because look, we got this 1 minute range right here, from top to bottom right here. And when we went into the FVG, we broke its highs and we came back down. So now this high right here on the 15-second chart, this fall high is an intermediate high. And then look what ended up happening. Price ended up creating another short-term high that was broken out of aggressively. So then that's when I was like, okay, this is our indication that the market is weak, and it's given us our play for bearish play. So I took all that buying pressure and made that my OB. So I knew that if price were to come back to this OB, we were going to go sell off heavily. And look at what happened inside that OB. There is a fair value gap right here. So the 30-second range, you can see that very clean fair value gap. So I wish I hadn't missed this, because this would have pretty much made my day. Pretty much distracted through YouTube, and it sucks because these are the kinds of plays that you end up missing if you are being distracted and playing around with other stuff. So, on a mental note, I mean, now that I'm talking about it, it feels a lot better, but I still didn't take the play. So anyways, I take 50% of that, and then look what price ended up doing. It ended up going down really aggressively, and it hit my target, which, as I like to say to you all, I like to take my profits a little bit before the -1 in my pips, because yeah, I like to make easy targets for price to do. So when price did something like this, it's a huge day for me, because again, this is a 6-hour trade. And as I told you yesterday, I tend to risk about 2% per trade. So this would have been an FTMO. This would have been someone's week. Still missed it at the end of the day, so didn't catch it. So whatever, fine. There'll be other trades similar to this. So now we are in this area where price started to make this very weird consolidation. That's what people call. And that's when I was getting lost. I was like, oh, in price. I was like, oh crap, what's going to happen? Are we going to continue this mitigation in order to create higher prices, because we are still technically in this very manipulation phase. So I'm looking for costs to support higher prices so that we can get out of here. So I kept going in with that bias that we need to buy to get out of here. And let me show you why being impatient really destroys your performance. Because as soon as I saw something that was developing my idea, that supported my reasoning to go for higher prices, I took it. And that was a big mistake because I didn't reevaluate what was it that was going on in the higher time frame perspective. I just saw a range, right? This range right here develop with its own FEG, and I was looking for costs to support higher prices, which I did find costs, right? We had this other range develop once it touched this FEG, created a fair value gap, saw a rebalance to that fair value gap. Now it's an intermediate high. Saw it break out, and I took the OB, took my entry, thinking this is it, boys. We're gonna go to the moon, and ended up stopping me out. That's why you see the first loss that I took there, in the red, which sucks. By the way, it sucks coming out publicly and saying that I got stopped out. But this is what market reviews are about. So. And later on, whereas before I could impulsively go back at it again, I took a step back and reevaluated my surroundings. I said, where are we in the market? And that's when I realized, holy shoot, on the 4 minutes, we have a long time frame range right here, my swing high, swing low, and this whole mega block here is my FEG. See that imbalance? This whole thing is my FEG. So I said, okay, cool. So what's my next entry? The way I saw price behaving, especially because the way I was feeling was very irresponsible too. I was feeling kind of regretful that I had missed this trade, but very upset that I had been stopped out. So I wasn't in the right mindset. So 11 o'clock, so 11 a.m. hits, and that's when I usually tend to close out shop. But for some reason, I wanted to keep going to make up that loss, and look what ended up happening. I thought that the selling was going to continue. Whenever I saw a range, I immediately took its place. So we have some high, swing low. You could mostly better see it in the 30-second. What's going on here? So I thought this was going to be our reason to go for lower prices because price made this fair value gap. We reacted off it nicely. Right, and then it gave us another mini fair value gap. So I thought this was going to be our continuation for selling. And then because of the way I was feeling and all the other things I mentioned before, we got stopped out again. And that's why you see that price, that losing trade. Today sucked, not gonna lie. But it's fortunately it's only a demo account, but I still like to make it believe that it's a real account that I'm dealing this year. So it's a lot of pressure because you're trying to take this seriously, and so now you feel even worse when you become impatient. Let me know if you feel this way, by the way. If you feel impatient, then you take a trade, doesn't go your way, now you feel even worse. That's why this field is so difficult. Anyways, now as I speak, what I'm thinking price is going to do is somehow figure out a way out of this mess. And I'm still under the belief that this whole move down here, this whole operation, it's just the manipulation phase, and we're gonna end up seeing price either close near where it opened, or a little bit higher. At least those are my predictions, my forecast. I mean, we'll see tomorrow if it hits that area, that this previous day's lows, which is what 130.98. We'll see if price goes back up to that area tomorrow. Pretty much done for today. I'm gonna be doing some more journaling, some more back testing later on today. So yeah, but for now, this is the market review of August 9th, 2022. Let me know what you think, and I'll be catching you in the next one.